There comes a moment when your soul stops searching and starts remembering. You can feel it, that quiet pull inside, like an ancient whisper trying to reach you through the noise of the world. It doesn't shout. It simply calls your name in silence. This is that moment. You didn't find this video by accident. Something beyond time has guided you here to remember what you once knew, long before you were born. This is the voice of Thoth, the eternal scribe, speaking through the silence of your own heart. Write in the comments, "I remember who I am." And if you can feel that truth vibrating through you right now, join the Thoth channel. Become part of those who awaken while the rest still sleep, seekers of the ancient wisdom returning once again. Every culture speaks of the same mystery, a hidden intelligence behind the universe, a mind that dreams existence into being. The Egyptians called it Thoth, Tehuti, the god of wisdom, the architect of thought, the guardian of time. But Thoth is not outside of you. He is the part of your consciousness that remembers the eternal laws of creation, the one who writes your destiny with the ink of awareness. When you quiet your mind, you can feel that inner scribe begin to move again. It's the silent intelligence that organizes your thoughts, the rhythm that connects cause and effect, the invisible geometry shaping your emotions into patterns. Thoth is that intelligence, not a being to worship, but a pattern to remember. He is the living principle of mentalism, the first law of the Hermetic teachings. All is mind. Everything you see, touch, or feel began as a thought. You are not inside reality. Reality is inside your consciousness. Most people spend their lives trapped in borrowed thoughts, repeating mental echoes they never questioned. That's why they feel heavy, lost, or confused. But when the wisdom of Thoth awakens in you, something reverses. You begin to see that the chaos outside is only a reflection of the confusion within. By bringing order to your thoughts, you bring harmony to your world. This is the first key of transformation. The outer world bends to the inner observer. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your mind as a vast sky. Thoughts are just passing clouds. Some are dark, some are light, but the sky remains untouched. Thoth lives in that sky, in the stillness behind all movement. The more you identify with that stillness, the more your thoughts begin to obey the higher rhythm of wisdom instead of the lower rhythm of fear. That is what it means to align with the Logos, the divine word that speaks creation into harmony. Every time you listen deeply to silence, you are reading one of the invisible pages of Thoth's book, the Book of Life, written not in letters but in vibration. It said that he recorded all things, not to judge, but to remind creation of its own truth. You too are writing in that book with every thought, every feeling, every choice. The question is, are you writing unconsciously, or have you remembered the hand that writes? Thoth teaches through paradox. He shows that time is an illusion, yet timing is divine. He whispers that life is both a dream and the dreamer. When you begin to see this, you stop fighting the flow of events. You begin to understand the law of rhythm, that everything rises and falls, comes and goes, expands and contracts. When you stop resisting, the dance of existence reveals its harmony. The mind of Thoth is the balance point where opposites meet and cancel each other into peace. Your awakening begins when you see that nothing has ever been against you. Not the delay, not the pain, not even the confusion. Everything was part of the divine calculation, teaching your soul how to remember balance. In the temples of ancient Egypt, the heart of the initiate was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the principle of truth. To enter the higher realms, your heart had to be as light as that feather, free of resistance, guilt, and self-deception. That's what Thoth teaches. True wisdom is not about knowing more, but about becoming lighter. Every time you release a judgment, forgive a memory, or let go of control, you are lifting the weight from your heart. That is how the scales of Ma'at begin to balance within you. Thoth watches not to punish, but to remind you. Every thought carries weight, and every thought can be transmuted into light. Now feel this. There's a quiet power that grows when you stop trying to control life and start listening to it. That listening is the gateway to the higher mind, the field where Thoth speaks. He doesn't speak in words, but in insights, sudden clarity that pierces confusion like light through mist. When those moments happen, don't doubt them. That's your soul remembering its own language. Thoth's law of correspondence, as above, so below, reveals that your inner state creates your outer world. Every emotion you project is mirrored back as experience. When you live unaware, you call that fate. When you awaken, you call it creation. The mind of Thoth is the bridge between these two realities, the shift from being a pawn of existence to being a conscious participant in it. Imagine a library made of light, shelves extending beyond time, filled with the memories of every soul that ever lived. This is the library of Thoth, the cosmic memory field some call the Akashic records. When your mind becomes silent and pure, you begin to sense it, not as visions or words, but as knowing. Without thinking, you suddenly understand what you could never learn through logic. That's how the scribes of the gods wrote, not by study, but by remembrance. Many have looked for this knowledge outside, in temples, texts, or systems, but the secret was never hidden there. The temple is your consciousness, the text is your life, the system is your attention. When you turn inward, you step into the same silence where Thoth once wrote the Tabua de Esmeralda, a mirror of cosmic law condensed into human words. As above, so below, as within, so without. These words are not poetry, they are physics of the soul. You were never meant to just survive. You were meant to remember, to walk this earth as a living expression of divine intelligence, to speak words that heal, to think thoughts that create harmony, to live as a reflection of the cosmic order that birthed you. That is the real purpose of awakening. Not escape, but embodiment. And yet, as your awareness grows, life begins to test it. Old patterns return, people trigger you, the past resurfaces. But this too is Thoth's teaching, the law of polarity. Light cannot exist without shadow. The more consciousness expands, the more it reveals what still needs to be integrated. Don't fight it. Learn to read it. Every shadow is a symbol waiting to be decoded. Every challenge is a message written in your own handwriting. When you begin to see everything as a message from your own higher mind, life transforms from chaos into scripture. The ordinary becomes sacred. Every moment becomes part of the great initiation that never ends. This is the true path of Hermetic awakening, not a religion, not a belief, but an ever-deepening recognition of the divine mind operating through all things. Right now, as you listen, that remembrance is awakening in you. You might not notice it with your mind, but your soul does. Something ancient is stirring, a calm power rising quietly. It's the same light that guided the ancient scribes, the same consciousness that measured the stars and mapped eternity. It is you, beyond time, beyond form, beyond the forgetting. So listen carefully, not to my words, but to the silence behind them. That silence is your teacher. That silence is Thoth. He is not asking you to believe. He is asking you to remember. What if everything you've ever searched for was hidden, not in the future, but in this very moment, waiting for you to see? And if this is your time to remember, what is your soul trying to tell you right now? You were never meant to live inside the noise. You were meant to listen between it. The mind of Thoth is not found in the loud, but in the quiet pulse between two thoughts. That tiny space is a doorway, invisible yet infinite. When you enter it, you begin to see the code behind reality. Every sound, every emotion, every situation becomes a symbol. The moment you stop taking things literally, you start reading life like a divine text. Thoth does not teach with words. He teaches with patterns. When you learn to see those patterns, you stop asking why and start realizing how. People often believe wisdom is about gathering more knowledge, but Thoth reveals the opposite. True wisdom is subtraction, removing everything that is not essential until only truth remains. What blinds the human mind is not ignorance, but excess. Too many opinions, too many labels, too much noise. The clarity of Thoth enters only when you begin to unlearn. The universe doesn't reward accumulation, it rewards alignment. When you are aligned, even one sentence can change your entire existence. You've been told that awakening is about reaching higher states. But Thoth whispers a paradox. Awakening is not about rising, it's about sinking so deep into presence that illusion can no longer hold you. The path upward begins by going inward, and the descent into your own stillness reveals heights you never imagined. The soul doesn't climb, it remembers, and remembrance is the only true ascension. Think about time. You believe it moves forward, one direction, one flow. But Thoth, the Lord of Time, laughs softly. Time is not a line, it's a field vibrating all at once. The past is not gone, and the future isn't waiting. Both are breathing inside you now. Every moment is a doorway through which infinite timelines ripple. When you shift your perception, you shift your reality. You don't move through time, time moves through you. You have always felt that your memories define you, but Thoth reveals another secret. Memories are not what happened. They are what you chose to keep alive. You can rewrite your past by changing the meaning you give it. The scribe of the gods is still writing through you. Every new interpretation edits your story in the book of life. The past is not fixed, it's responsive. The ink of your perception is always wet. Look at the moon. Thoth is its guardian, not because of its beauty, but because of its rhythm. The moon never resists its phases. It waxes, wanes, disappears, and returns, just like consciousness. Humans fear their darkness, but the moon teaches the opposite. Even when you seem gone, your light is only resting. You were not created to shine constantly. You were created to honor the cycle of becoming and dissolving. You think truth arrives with thunder, but Thoth's truth moves like light inside water, quiet, bending, elusive. It reaches those who stop chasing it. When you stop trying to understand, you start seeing. Understanding belongs to the surface. Seeing happens in the depth. That's why the greatest revelations often come when you least expect, because in that moment, your mind finally surrenders control. There's a place inside you where all opposites dissolve. Pain and peace, fear and love, life and death. That center is the throne of Thoth, the silent witness. You are not your emotions, you are the awareness that watches them rise and fall. When you stop identifying with movement, you realize you were never lost. You were simply watching the waves without realizing you were the ocean. The teachings of Thoth are not about escaping humanity, but sanctifying it. To awaken doesn't mean to detach from the world, it means to see divinity within it. Every conversation, every moment of confusion, every tear, all are pages of the same sacred book. When you read them with your heart instead of your fear, the mundane becomes mystical. The world doesn't need to change, the way you see it does. You've been taught that silence is emptiness, but silence is fullness, too vast for noise to contain. When you sit inside true silence, it's not that you hear nothing, it's that you begin to hear everything. Every vibration, every heartbeat, every subtle hum of existence becomes a message. The universe is always speaking, but most people are too loud inside to listen. Imagine the first word ever spoken. Not a sound, but a vibration that separated light from shadow. That was Thoth's word, the Logos, the creative principle. Every time you speak consciously, you echo that first act of creation. Your words are miniature universes shaping the invisible. That's why Thoth is called the scribe. He reminds you that language is not description, it's construction. What you name, you give life to. You believe thoughts are private, but Thoth reveals that every thought is an offering into the field of existence. The universe listens. Thoughts are not just energy, they are blueprints. And when repeated with emotion, they crystallize into experience. That is the law of correspondence in motion. Your inner vibration becomes your outer environment. To change your world, change your language. Not the words, but the frequency beneath them. What happens when you stop thinking? The human mind fears that void, believing it equals death. But Thoth smiles. That void is where life begins. In the pause between two thoughts lies the seed of creation. The mind resists silence because silence exposes its illusion of control. Yet the moment you enter that still point, you discover that intelligence doesn't need your thinking to operate. The universe is already thinking through you. The ancients said Thoth weighed souls, but not to judge them. He weighed them to remind them of balance. Your thoughts are feathers or stones. Every time you attach too tightly, you become heavier. Every time you let go, you become lighter. The lightest soul is not the one that knows everything, but the one that resists nothing. Lightness is not ignorance, it's mastery. Most people try to manifest by forcing outcomes, but Thoth teaches manifestation through resonance. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. To change the outer, you must become the vibration of what you seek. The Hermetic masters called this mental transmutation. It's not effort, it's frequency alignment. When you stop desiring and start embodying, creation becomes effortless. There is an old saying, "The lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding." That's Thoth's warning. Wisdom hides in plain sight. Only those who have learned silence can hear it. You can listen to 1,000 teachings and still miss the one that matters because you are waiting for sound instead of meaning. The moment you listen without expectation, truth enters. You were taught that knowledge is outside, in books, teachers, systems. But Thoth reminds you, those are only mirrors. True initiation happens when knowledge becomes recognition, when the outer symbol awakens the inner knowing. Reading about light does not illuminate you. Becoming still enough to see it within does. You are both student and scripture. Some think awakening makes you special. It doesn't. It makes you real. It strips away everything false until only the essential remains. Thoth doesn't crown you. He humbles you. Because true mastery is invisible. The wisest soul walks quietly, carries no titles, and leaves no trace. Power that needs to be seen as weakness, disguised as light. Listen, can you feel that subtle pulse behind your heart? That's the rhythm of the cosmos moving through you. Every breath is an echo of creation. When you inhale, the universe expands. When you exhale, it contracts. You are not separate from the stars. You are their continuation. The mind of Thoth flows through galaxies and thoughts alike, making no distinction between them. Now ask yourself, if every moment is a message, what is this moment trying to reveal to you right now? And if silence itself is speaking, are you truly listening or still waiting to hear your own voice instead of the voice of eternity? What if your soul wasn't created to learn, but to remember the knowledge it already holds? The book of the soul, as Thoth whispers, is not written in words or ink. It's written in vibration. Every experience you've lived was not random. It was a sentence in that invisible text. Pain was not punishment. It was punctuation, guiding your understanding toward completion. Joy was not reward. It was recognition, a reminder of what you already knew. When you begin to see your life as a living scripture, the ordinary dissolves, and you start reading yourself like a sacred book written by eternity. The mind tries to read the world literally, but Thoth's language is symbolic. Everything you encounter is a mirror. A broken cup, a passing stranger, a sudden delay. All are symbols crafted by your higher mind to communicate with you. The universe doesn't speak in human words. It speaks in reflections. When you learn to interpret them, life becomes dialogue instead of confusion. That's the secret of the scribes. They didn't decode the stars. They listened to their own reflection within them. Most people think signs come from outside, as if heaven must send proof. But Thoth shows the opposite. The outer world bends to the pattern of your inner dialogue. You don't receive messages, you broadcast them. The more coherent your inner frequency, the clearer the symbols appear. Life has always been speaking to you, not as a teacher, but as a translator of your own vibration. To change what it says, change what you mean. Symbols are not decoration, they are structure. Behind every letter, number, and form lies geometry, the language of creation itself. Thoth's wisdom reveals that reality is not built on matter, but on meaning. Meaning gives matter its form. That is why every transformation begins not with action, but with interpretation. When you see differently, you create differently. The power to shift worlds hides inside a single new perception. You were taught that truth is found through reason, but the Hermetic path dissolves that illusion. Reason only maps what the soul already knows. Understanding is a shadow of remembrance. When you trust intuition, you are not being irrational. You are remembering faster than the mind can explain. The intellect dissects, intuition integrates. Both are needed, but only one leads home. In the ancient temples of Thoth, seekers were not told what to think. They were given symbols: a serpent, a sun, a lotus, a mirror. Each symbol was a door, but the key was silence. Because when the mind stops analyzing, it begins to absorb. The meaning of a symbol is not in its form, but in what it awakens inside you. That's why the same image can transform one person and confuse another. Revelation depends on readiness. Have you noticed how your life repeats certain patterns, as if the same lesson wears new faces? Those loops are not mistakes. They're pages you haven't finished reading. Every repetition is a gentle insistence from the soul. You have not yet remembered. The moment you see the pattern instead of the event, the loop ends. Awareness is the final line that closes the chapter. Thoth teaches that symbols evolve as you do. The serpent that once represented danger becomes wisdom. The darkness that once frightened you becomes rest. The death you once feared becomes transition. Meaning shifts when you rise in understanding. The same symbol turns from prison into portal. The secret is never in the symbol itself, but in the one who observes it. Many believe light reveals truth, but Thoth teaches that shadow protects it. The brightest light blinds when the eyes are unprepared. That's why mystery veils wisdom, not to hide it, but to preserve it until perception matures. Your confusion is not a flaw. It's a form of grace. The unknown is the temple where readiness is forged. When the veil lifts, you realize it was never there. It was your own resistance pretending to be mystery. You think awakening is about certainty, but Thoth shows that real awakening lives inside wonder. The moment you believe you know, wisdom escapes. The truly awakened mind remains curious, not seeking answers, but seeing patterns unfold endlessly. Curiosity is not lack. It's openness. The divine never stops revealing itself because revelation is infinite. Only the closed mind feels finished. The book of the soul writes itself through symbols of experience, not abstractly but through emotion. Every feeling you've ever had was ink from that sacred pen. Sadness carved depth, joy filled color, fear etched direction. When you honor emotion as language instead of obstacle, you begin to read the emotional alphabet of your being. The most painful chapters are often the most sacred because they rewrite you in gold where you were once written in dust. We often ask for guidance, but guidance doesn't always come as light. Sometimes it arrives as loss, silence, or delay, not to hurt, but to reroute. The scribe of time doesn't make mistakes. Every apparent detour is part of precision. When things seem to collapse, Thoth whispers, "This too is alignment." Life removes what cannot follow your next vibration. Resistance is only misunderstanding divine timing. In the halls of ancient wisdom, initiation meant one thing: remembering the invisible order behind chaos. When Thoth's disciples entered darkness, they weren't seeking visions, they were training perception. They learned that the unknown was not empty. It was pregnant with design. The true initiate doesn't fear the void. They listen to it until form reveals itself naturally. That's how you move from control to cooperation with the cosmic rhythm. What if everything in your life right now is sacred choreography? Even the confusion. What if you stopped labeling events as good or bad and started asking what they symbolize? Every moment would become instruction. Thoth's world is not divided between sacred and ordinary. It's all one script written in different fonts. Those who read it awaken, those who judge it sleep. You are not the reader of the book of life. You are its author, learning to read your own handwriting. Every thought is ink. every word a vibration shaping the next scene. When you change the tone of your inner narrative, you rewrite the future without effort. That is not fantasy. That is Hermetic law. Form follows frequency. The more consciously you write, the more gracefully you live. When you observe without naming, you touch truth directly. Naming separates, seeing unites. That's why Thoth's greatest power is not speech, but silence. Speech creates, silence connects. Both are sacred acts of the same intelligence. When you balance them, you become the living logos, the bridge between thought and form. You stop being the seeker and start being the sentence. Every sound you utter echoes through unseen worlds. Words spoken in anger distort patterns. Words spoken in awareness realign them. You may think nobody hears your inner dialogue, but the universe is built on resonance. Thoth teaches that creation listens to coherence, not noise. When your words, thoughts, and emotions agree, reality obeys. That is the hidden architecture of manifestation. Have you noticed how some truths feel ancient the moment you hear them? That's not learning, that's remembering. Recognition is the soul's signature saying, "I've been here before." It's how Thoth speaks, not to your mind, but to your memory. The greatest wisdom doesn't enter, it awakens. You are not receiving light, you are revealing it. So now, as you listen to these words, ask yourself quietly, not with thought, but with presence, what symbols have been repeating in your life lately? What patterns, what emotions, what subtle whispers keep returning? And if every single one of them is Thoth trying to speak through your experience, what message is waiting to be finally understood? Before this journey seals itself in silence, leave your mark upon the unseen field. Write in the comments the sacred phrase, "I remember the language of light." This is your symbolic signature, a quiet act of alignment that turns mere listening into awakening. Every word written carries frequency, and this one declares remembrance. Now, to those who have crossed the invisible threshold, subscribing is not an act of following, but of returning. This channel is not a collection of videos. It's a temple of echoes for those who remember who they are. Press the symbol below as a gesture of belonging to this silent brotherhood of seekers, where each teaching is a mirror for the ancient within you. The final revelation of Thoth's wisdom is never shouted. It whispers through stillness. The real secret is that you are both the reader and the scripture, both the sound and the silence that holds it. When you no longer chase symbols but become one, the universe stops hiding, because it realizes you are the author it was waiting for. And as the next mystery unfolds beyond this moment, what if the next sign you see isn't random, but the continuation of this very sentence written through your life right now?